Welcome back, Leggari Nation. In this video, you'll see as we give this countertop a fresh new look using our soft tan pigment as the base coat and gold Leggari Effects as the highlight. This is a beautiful, subtle look that you can achieve using our products. Visit www.leggari.com or check the description below to get your kit today.
Welcome back, guys. My name's Kyle, and on today's video we're going to be coating a countertop using our pigments in our soft tan and our Leggari Effects in gold. This countertop is about 25 square feet, which calls for three quarters of a gallon. So we're going to get that mixed up now. Alrighty, now that we got all the resin mixed up, I'm going to pass it over to Tim, who will apply it to a countertop.
Okay, Kyle got me the epoxy. Now I'm going to spread it out on the counter. This is our epoxy pigment in our clear metallic epoxy. And then we're going to add our gold effects. This is going to be a very simple counter, but it's going to look absolutely beautiful, very elegant. So the first thing we want to do is just get that epoxy spread out. So I'm going to pour a big bead right down the middle. I want to get this spread out on the counter, but I don't want to push it over the edge yet. I'm just going to go to the edge. I'm going to make sure I have a little bit on all of my edges, so when I roll over the side, it coats the side really well. So I'm just going to pull some excess that I have on the counter back towards the face. This is why it's important to have the back of your counters taped off as well, so you don't lose a lot of epoxy back there. Especially if you don't have the backsplash up yet, you want to make sure that that gap is taped off or filled between the cabinets and the wall. All right, now it's pretty even on the top, and I'm just going to begin to roll the top all the way to the edge and then roll the faces. Remember, we have a little bit of extra epoxy, so I'm just going to begin to get it thicker towards the edge and then work it over the edge there. I'm gonna set this roller down here on a clean part of the plastic just in case I need it again. But we'll give that in about 30 seconds and we'll start adding our Leggari Effects to it. We'll just let it finish leveling out on the top of it. So now we have our gold Leggari Effects. It's an amazing, we're the only company in the world with these. We actually designed these to work with our epoxy. So they are incredibly potent. We'll show you how far it goes. And I'm not going to be using a trowel or anything, just a simple tongue depressor and gloves. We're going to try to make kind of a cool vein pattern. The nice thing is you can always add more, but sometimes it's tough to take it out. So start slow, and then, you know, if you don't like it, then you could always add more. A little bit of a vein pattern as a focal point on this counter, kind of offset from the middle. And then off of that, I'd like to do some finer veins. So what I'm going to do is actually dump it out on the stick a little bit and then tip the stick over towards the end and let it drip off as I'm dragging it through the counter. And then I'll leave it on this edge a little bit just so as the epoxy runs over this edge, it'll still pull some of those effects with it. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of designs in here. I'm not really happy with it. Let me show you what you can do with the counter if you're not happy with it. Now we're still gonna have some effects in the counter, but I'm gonna try to use some of it in the design and change the design a little bit. It's still got that off-white look to it, that rich look, and that gold is still gonna pop through. Now you gotta hit the whole surface. So now what I can do is I don't wanna hit it too much more with effects, but I do want some really subtle veining in it, just to create a couple accent veins. So you can see if you don't like the design, you're not totally lost. You do have a limited amount of time to work with the counter. And sometimes, like I mentioned in the beginning, less is more. Came out the gate swinging, huh? So that looks a lot better, a lot more elegant. Let's see how that turns out. We'll give this a couple minutes. We'll let it level out, and then we'll hit it with some denatured alcohol and get rid of some of the bubbles that were induced into the epoxy when I swirled it. Okay, it's been a couple minutes. It's all leveled out. Most of the isopropyl has flashed off. Now I just want to spritz it with the denatured alcohol with a very fine mist. So you'll need to mess with the edges for a little bit when the top's done, but it's important if you like the top, don't mess with the top anymore, because if you touch a part of the top of the counter, now that part will stand out from the rest of the counter. So you can kind of baby the edges a little bit as it's setting up, just slight rolls on it. You can use a paintbrush, a very fine paintbrush, and stroke down. The important things about having flat counters is sometimes what ends up happening is people will actually have counters that slope towards the back, towards the wall. And so no epoxy wants to flow over the face, it actually wants to flow towards the back. So it's important to make sure that your counters are perfectly level before you start. We'll just continue to wipe drips about every 15 to 20 minutes until they're done dripping, and then we'll show you what it looks like at the end.